Hello, it's Jason Heath, Contrabass Conversations host, coming to you today with one more solo show about a topic that I know people like to discuss and hear about. That is auditioning, and it's some thoughts from Colin Corner, principal bass of the Oregon Symphony and Grant Park Symphony. And they just had an audition for assistant principal bass for the Oregon Symphony. Colin shared some thoughts via Facebook. We then put them out on the blog, and I thought, why not put them out here on the podcast too, so you can hear that. Colin is a multi-time guest. Is that the right phrase? Multiple guest here on the podcast, going back to, the early days of the podcast when he was in the Minnesota Orchestra. We reconnected when he was in the Rochester Philharmonic, principal bass there. He also played in the Atlanta Symphony, principal bass in that interim, and he's now principal bass of Oregon and Grant Park. We dug into auditioning and what it's like being a principal bass and what Colin has learned through his musical journey, and we even put out a recital with Colin earlier in 2018. So great to have Colin back through my voice, but that's what we're doing today. And a quick shout out to A440 Violin Shop, to Upton Bass, to D'Addario Strings, and Robertson and Sons. These are the folks that keep the lights on here at Contrabass Conversations. Thank you so much, all of you. These are all good people that I have known for years. I use their products. I recommend them to people pretty much every day. I get an email or a student asks me, where should I look for a bass? I need a rehair. Oh, I've got a crack. What do? I want to try out some different strings. Upton Bass, D'Addario Strings, A440, Robertson and Sons. These folks rock. Thank you for supporting the podcast. So today, audition notes from Colin Corner. So here's what Colin wrote. I'll just read his words. Colin writes, "It's taken a minute, but I'm finally doing a post on our recent auditions for assistant principal bass here in the Oregon Symphony. First of all, congrats to recent Curtis graduate Bryson Jones. Bryson, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I might not be. And I need to connect with you anyway. We need to do a podcast episode. So, for winning the audition on a bass that was also played by Don Hermans when he was a student at Curtis. It was very special to see the two of them connect. Secondly, I have a lot of thoughts on this audition, and I'll try to do a brief summary of what we heard. We listened to 36 candidates in the prelims, and out of those, 8 advanced the semis, plus 4 auto-advanced candidates. We heard a great level of playing overall, and everyone in the semis was spectacular. But Bryson, and again, apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name, set a standard. He really set the bar high, especially being the first candidate in that round. In the finals, we heard 3 wonderful candidates. All 3 played incredibly well. Bryson's playing really stuck out to us because of the incredible dynamic range, stylistic contrast, and flexibility he had when asked to adjust things. Flexibility is important. Also, I think exploring the limits of dynamics, how low and how big can things get, is incredibly important at auditions. He also took care of note lengths and style. His Mozart was light and well phrased, and his Mahler and Strauss were ripping. We heard a great level overall at this audition, and I congratulate everyone for taking it. That being said, there were a few things I noticed, particularly in the prelims, that a lot of players have tendencies to do. Call them my pet peeves. So here are Colin's pet peeves. Beethoven 5 Scherzo. Many players start the forte quarter notes after the intro very hammered and accented, then have nothing left for the sforzatos later. These are melodic quarters. No accents are written on them. Also important is to keep the same tempo. Lots of people tend to not match the previous tempo before the Ritz. Brahms 2 letter E. I noticed many players tend to almost double dot the 16ths. In Brahms, I always go for a heartbeat 16th so that it sits a bit. These are German 16ths. Also not too fast for tempo. Mozart is a chance to really show lighter style, but long lines are so important, no false accents. In general, it's great when you can get a beautiful sound and a great vibrato, but for auditions, that's not enough. You have to make the vibrato and the sound suit the direction and the energy of the music. Basically, when you play Strauss, make us hear Strauss. When you play Brahms, make it Brahms. Just because there's a long note and suddenly you have time to do vibrato, that's great, but make it fit in with the phrase. I'm signing off for now. I could probably write a novel on this, but congrats again to Bryson and everyone who took the audition. So those are Colin's words, and we will probably connect with him again sometime soon about auditioning and all the other things that he's up to. But I'll sign off with this episode with just a short clip from my recent interview with Colin Corner, and you can learn more and read the blog post and everything about Colin in the show notes for this episode. What would you tell young Colin from what you've experienced today?
I would probably tell young Colin to just maybe not get too excited about things. Okay. and to to have more global awareness about things. To really sort of be on the lookout for anything and everything in whatever musical situation, and to fit into that, because that hasn't always been an easy thing for me. Even in terms of what auditions, just as a general approach, I would tell young Colin to just keep working hard, but always be aware of that kind of fitting in aspect, and where that can lead you. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I would take any of it back, because it's been kind of a journey, but it's been one that I've enjoyed quite a bit, and I think that getting a lot of new experiences has given me a nice perspective. Mm-hmm. Going to a lot of different places and sort of seeing what's out there in the orchestral world. The most satisfying aspect of that is when you feel like every little thing that you do is fitting in to that situation and is contributing to it in a very positive way. And I think just that aspect of orchestral playing is very, very satisfying. And when you're in a situation where where that's happening, where everybody's on the same page, then magic can really happen, and just incredible music making. So I would probably tell young Colin to just always be aware of that, and to never give up on exploring new things musically and new ideas.